This is Gadget Stop 321. In today's video, I'm taking a look at the JetPens branded metal pocket pen. Now, in an earlier video, when I had talked about the JetPens Chibi, which was the demonstrator version of the pocket pen that was branded by JetPens, I'd mentioned that they no longer sold the Chibi, but they were still selling the metal version. Well, when I went back to do some research and get the specs about the pen, they're no longer selling these either. So that's kind of a disappointment. These were both standard international cartridge pens, and that's what I found attractive about them, because like I mentioned before, in my early fountain pen days, I used exclusively standard international short cartridges. But this is a little snap cap pen. And one thing I want to mention, I haven't used it in a while, and when I picked it up, the first thing that struck me was the heft of it. Now, I'm not a big fan of very heavy pens, but since this is a pocket pen, there's heft to it, but it's not heavy. It's just a nice, dense pen that just sits in your hand really nicely. It came in 3 colors. There was a black, kind of a beige color, and then this really nice pearly white finish. Like I mentioned, it's a snap cap pen. It posts pretty deeply, but not very securely. There's not a plastic cap insert, so it just fits by friction. It's metal on metal, and you can't really see it. I just noticed it because I was looking for it. There's a slight ring where the cap has worn on the pen, but you don't really notice it unless you're looking for it. Like I said, it doesn't post very securely, but since there's some heft to it, it sits on there. Well, I mean, it's not unsecure, but it works nicely as a posted pen, and it makes a nice size pen. The weight is just really nice. You can feel the weight is centered right here on the crook of your hand. Now, this pen does suffer from the what some mini pocket pens suffer from, tiny section. This is one of those pocket pens that is just a scaled down model of a full-size pen. So if you don't have anything to give it reference, just looking at this pen, it looks like a full-size pen. When uncapped, it has the same proportions as a full-size pen. That means there's a tiny section. But the good thing about this one is it's got a plastic section, so it's not super slippery. This step right here is not very obnoxious, so it's not a bad pen. I like the feel of this pen better than the Conklin Mini Graph. It's got a small nib. It looks like a number 3 nib. It doesn't say iridium point. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. This one says Regal and extra fine. And it's a pretty nib. It's got a nice design on it. And I believe these only came in extra fine. Now again, this one, I don't know if the tines were out of line or what, but even after working on this was super rough. And I had smoothed this one a little bit before I got micromesh. I just smoothed it out on the bottom of a ceramic cup and got it somewhat usable. And that's the main reason I haven't used this in a while, is that it was just kind of scratchy. So I got out the micro mesh just a few minutes ago, ran it over a few passes, and now it's a pretty pleasant pen to use. I've got it inked up with some Iroshizuku Konpeki. So let's compare it to the Chibi. This was my writing sample after I smoothed it out a bit. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. Okay, so this is the one. Now it's dry from me sitting there with it open. There we go. And I believe this is pocket. I can't talk and speak at the same time. I believe this is what it was called when JetPens had it for sale. I think it was just called the metal pocket pen. Much smoother now. And doesn't seem as dry as the chibi. Let me grab the chibi real quick. Yeah, the chibi appears to write with a little finer line. I think it's just because it's drier. Let me see. Yeah, that's quite a bit drier. Yeah, not bad. I think this, when I bought it, was about $12. And now that it writes quite a bit better, I really like it. It's a nice looking pen. It's nice and heavy. I would feel comfortable carrying this around in a pants pocket because it's got a nice sturdy clip. Yeah, it's just a nice heavy pen. This wouldn't be bad for carrying around in a pants pocket. The clip's pretty sturdy on it. It's just a little more lightweight. Could be kind of This, it's a little bit more fragile, but I think it would be okay in a pants pocket. Throwing it around in a book bag, though, it may, I don't know, being thrown around with heavy books might not be as good. But this just seems like a super solid pen. The cap fits really tight. So, kind of disappointed they don't sell these anymore. I would like to have one in the black finish. But if you found this video helpful, please give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more videos like this, please subscribe to my channel.